It's kind of indescribable, really. Look, they came out uh, really energized, focused. I mean, they showed their championship pedigree, and we were slow to react to it, and we just couldn't get it going. And you know, we didn't play nearly as well as we needed to, and they showed why they're a championship team.
Craig Bernback, K2 here in Portland. Coach, do you think your guys just were a little exhausted tonight?
Oh, I don't know about exhausted. Certainly a slow start. It's hard to be exhausted in the first quarter. You know, it's playoff basketball, and um, I don't know. I don't know if we let up after having a good game in Game 3. It's hard to say, but um, I think it was much more about them and how good they are. And you know, obviously we didn't play as well as we needed to, but I wouldn't use that as an excuse.
In the middle, please.
Mike Richmond, the
Go ahead.
Oregonian again.
Go ahead,
I
Mike. Okay.
What can you say about Dame's effort? He seemed like, you played him 42 straight minutes.
You know, Damien competed, and I think he showed today what makes him a special player. He never stopped competing. You know, one of his best attributes is his will and his willpower, and I thought that showed tonight. And we needed him. He kept battling, and when things weren't going well, you know, things eventually turned around in large part because of him. You guys just going to alternate questions?
We're trying,
All right.
Coach.
All right.
Overall, I mean, I know it just ended, but with the season, considering where you guys were before the All-Star break, will you still walk away from this season and be happy with especially the second half?
You know, you know, I'm sure we'll evaluate this season, but you know, this was a roller coaster for us from day one. I mean, it's been an up and down season, frustrating in some ways, but I think, as I told the team, what I'll remember most about this team is how we competed after the All-Star break to make the playoffs. I mean, that showed a lot of character, and I was very proud of the way we competed and made the effort to make the playoffs. It's a bad way to end the season. It usually is in the playoffs, but when I look back on this season, that's what I'm going to remember most is how we came back since the All-Star break.
Kevin Pelton, ESPN.com. You mentioned their championship pedigree. You played these guys last year, the Spurs a few years ago. How does this Warriors team compare?
Well, it'll be ultimately decided in the playoffs. I mean, last year they won, how many games they win last year? 72, 73? Okay. So I would have said the same thing last year. Ultimately, this team, the Golden State, will be decided by how they fare in the playoffs and if they win a championship. That being said, I think they're better than they were last year. I think they're more versatile. I think they're more explosive offensively. I think they're playing with a purpose, considering what happened last year. So they're formidable, and it's going to take a great series to beat them, for anybody to beat them.
Connor Letourneau, San Francisco Chronicle. Coach, what was it specifically about JaVale that gave you guys so many problems this series?
You know what? With all due respect to JaVale, it was more about he was the recipient of a lot of good passes and playmaking, and he has a talent to finish around the basket. And if we didn't keep our man in front of us, if we didn't do the right coverage on a pick and roll, if he got out in transition, he was the recipient of some good passes. And to his credit, he's an athletic big man who can finish around the basket. But I think he complements the other players on the roster really well, because you have to account for him around the basket, and you certainly have to account for the other guys all over the court.
Anthony Slater, Bay Area News Group. Draymond Green, I think, had 17 blocks in 4 games. You know, he's 6'8". He's not considered a traditional rim protector, but how disruptive is he just as a shot blocker?
Shot blocker, probably more as a help defender, and certainly that means most of his blocks were off ball blocks where he's coming to help. But he's an outstanding help defender. He has a great knack to be in the lane and help. He reads play as well, and I think that's when with the way their team is constructed, that talent really helps them.
Lisa Su from Tencent. People say you guys have a bright future, but what are you guys gonna focus on for the next season?
Well, I think it's a little too early to talk about next season right now. We're a relatively young team. I think we're the youngest team in the playoffs. This was a good experience to understand playing against a team like Golden State. Neil has done an outstanding job with the roster every offseason, and I'm sure obviously there are always changes going from one season to the next, but a lot of our growth is going to have to be internal, and the players on the roster now need to continue to get better as they have. All right, thanks everybody. Have a great off season.